Yeah. I was just gonna say I don't even need to use my dick really because this, but yeah, I would still use my dick. John's loving this.
I am loving that. There's a character in American Horror Story, spoilers, who it's in the Circus Freaks season, and he's got these like they call them lobster hands, and they're like thick.
You just reminded me of
thick
something.
fingers, and he gets paid to finger women and to provide them sexual satisfaction. It was like in the 1950s.
What the hell?
Okay, that's weird, Bryson.
That is
okay,
weird.
that's weird. When you could be making fucking bank.
We're all weird.
You could be making
Yo, if
money.
me and my friends, I could be a famous porn star with this shit.
Alrighty, what up, you guys? I'm Bryson Smith.
And I'm Javin, and this is Etcetera. Oh, we got it.
Okay,
Yes. It'll work.
I know, I messed up. I got this toy now.
He's
I
got
like
a stick.
this.
He's got a stick so that he can press a button.
Right,
Do a
right.
New layout. Introduce our topic today, Bryson.
Right, so if you've seen the thumbnail and the title, you know where this is going. It's going to be about my hand. So to the listeners, like on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, all the other platforms, I have one hand. And I know the people on YouTube have seen it and they know, but I just want to... Today, we just kind of wanted to talk about that and my experiences. So Javin actually has a list.
I've got several questions.
Yeah, questions he's going to ask me involving my hand and that people have wanted to know, like, every time they meet me. So
I'm going to ask these questions so you don't have to. This
Exactly.
is for you guys.
And you guys get to know a little bit more about me, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
we're ready for this. I'm ready for this.
Okay. First question.
Let's hear it.
Easy. Why do you have one hand?
Oh, okay. I was born with this condition. The doctors say they actually don't know why. Okay, so fun fact. So I used to work at Sprouts, right? And there's this one guy who came in and he was talking to me and he asked me about my hand. And apparently in the 90s, there was some type of medicine that they were giving women that was actually causing these conditions. I'm assuming maybe my mom was taking this medication around. I was born in the 90s, 94. So I'm thinking maybe that's why, but they said they actually didn't know why. So I just had one hand. It's not like I lost it. People think like, they ask what happened. I usually tell people that my dad cut it off when I was a kid and stuff like that. Yeah, but no, I was just born like that. So I don't even know what it feels like to have two hands.
It's funnier when you meet his dad, and his dad's a very nice man, and
He's a smart guy.
He's very smart.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Bryson's just like, yeah, he chopped my hand off. When I okay, second question.
Let's hear it.
Why not use a prosthetic? Like, why did you choose to grow up with
You're
one
asking
hand?
some good questions right now. I wasn't
these
expecting
are the
these.
questions you have.
So-
Everyone has
Yeah,
them.
so when I was a kid, they actually tried giving me a prosthetic hand, and I did not like it. I remember I used to try flushing it down the toilet. It just didn't feel natural, didn't feel real for me. I gotta say this. Hold up. Before we go.
Fuck.
Make sure to
Let's go.
follow us on all of our social medias. Make sure to follow at Ralph the Go God, the greatest listener in the whole world. And yeah, but nah, dude, I used to throw that thing in the freaking toilet. I didn't care for it at all. It just wasn't. It didn't work for me. It didn't feel real. I couldn't,
When would you say you made the choice? When you were like, oh, this is it, done?
When I was a kid, like as soon as they got it on, that was like, I want to say, I was between 4 and 6.
Shit, you knew
Somewhere
your
around
shit.
there. Yeah.
You knew what you wanted.
Between
Wow.
4 and 6, definitely. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was 4 and 6.
Okay. Third one. This is a ridiculous question, and if you ask it, you're a ridiculous person. But I know this is a question somebody would ask.
I've been asked some pretty ridiculous questions. No, I'm telling you. I'm gonna let you finish your question, but I want to say my part in this too.
So I know him, and I know the answer to this question, but I still have to. I still have to get it out there. Is it difficult for you to eat food in general?
So listen, I have one hand technically. No, I do have one hand.
Yeah.
But I'm right-handed. Now, it would be interesting okay, let's say you guys see how I have this, right? This nub or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if I had this, but I was left-handed. But I'm not. I'm right-handed. So I eat with my right hand. But what's crazy is like this, it's weird. This hand supports this hand. Like when I drive and I play video games, which is probably hard for you guys to imagine, it's weird how they work together. Like I can do most things. I I wish I could make a video for you guys just so you can kind of see how I go about doing things in my everyday life. But I can do like everything pretty much that I want to do. So yeah, it works for me.
So that
no insecurities with this hand at all.
No, he doesn't,
Yeah.
genuinely. So that leads to the other questions. Are you ever embarrassed by it? Have you ever been embarrassed by it? Have you ever had a complex when it came to your hand?
No, and that hit me around 8th grade. I remember, obviously, I think kids go through this, but for me, I took it in early. I remember in 8th grade, I was like at home one night, and I was just like, I have one hand. That's never going to change, so I should just do me. And it sounds so cliche, but that actually worked for me until this day. I'm just me, Bryson, and I just do whatever it is I do.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you've never really had any serious insecurities?
Nah, I
about
never.
your hand?
Nah, I remember like little girls used to be scared of my hand, but we're children, so that's just normal. So I grew up with that, and it never really affected me in a way that I couldn't get out of it. Like I was always just.
You're just yourself.
Upgrading, I guess.
Yeah, you're just like
I didn't get super depressed and want to kill myself and all that shit. Nah, that didn't happen with me.
Right. So what are our people's reactions with your hand? Like generally, what do they respond with first out the bat?
Nowadays, when I was a kid, it was like they were in shock and they were like scared of me. But now in my adult life, really nothing crazy. Like usually when I talk to people, I see. Sometimes people don't even know I have one hand, or they forget I have one hand, and those are the people that are around me all the time. But like if I'm holding a conversation with someone that I just met, I'll see their eyes drift, and sometimes they'll talk about it, or there's nothing. They just continue the conversation.
I was that guy.
Yeah, it's just normal.
Where my eyes just kind of go.
Yeah, your eyes will drift, and I'll see that, but that doesn't matter.
So let's go into some of the questions that I know people wouldn't initially think of, but then when you start talking, they're like, oh yeah, how do you do that? The main two are driving and video games. So let me just introduce this by saying Bryson's probably the most confident and safe driver I know, and it really bothers me because I'm not amazing at driving. I'm like, okay, but then I'll see Bryson on the. I'm about to put you under the bus.
All right, yeah, do it. Just do it. Just tell them.
Don't drink and drive. Never drink and drive ever. But I have seen Bryson drink and drive once.
No, more than once.
More than once.
He's being nice.
I just don't want to throw
I know.
you out
Just
there.
be honest. We're all the way 100.
But it's bullshit is what it is, because he's driving with one hand and he drives with one hand in general. He uses the nub as like an assist. But
that's why I said like they go with each
he's
other.
drunk as fuck. He's on his phone. He'll be using the nubs like on that. No, actually I'm wrong. You'll be using your hand to talk on your phone and using the nub to drive, drunk as fuck on the freeway, and he's steady. No deviation. Absolutely steady. Stops at stop signs. Follows the speed limit exactly. And I'm like, that I can't do that sober. That's bullshit. So I pretty much just explained it, but explain to me your experience with driving. What has that journey been like?
It's because back when I was like, we live right outside the city, like right out of LA, and I used to drive back and forth all the time, going to like friends or some modeling shit I used to do. And I just wouldn't, when I would be out, I would drink, and I just got used to just driving back home and just driving. I would drive a lot. And a lot of times I'd be intoxicated. Now, I'm not like actually like I don't try to drive drunk. It's just I'm like, I want to go home. And I just got used to that. And I tell myself I can't fuck up, so I don't fuck up. And I just follow the rules. Like it sounds bad. Well, I know how to drink and drive, but I don't recommend it. But if I have to do it, I'll do it. I know that sounds bad.
It does sound really
sounds so bad. I'm just being honest.
Do not drink and drive unless you are a 1 in a million person, which you cannot determine while you're drunk. You have to know that shit for whatever. Just don't drink and drive.
Me.
On policy, just don't fucking do it. He does it because he's built different. What's that?
What's
we
up,
have a live
Or
studio
Scarlett?
audience. What's up?
Anyways, moving on.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
okay,
Whatever.
that's
Anyway, I'm on it. I'm on it like it runs through my head all the time.
I also want to say before you go into your next question, I always know when people are about to ask me about my hand, because we'll be talking and then they'll say, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "It's the hand question," and then they go into it. Just
a silence, just a random
happened to your
silence.
hand?
So I didn't even know. I'm bringing this back on the table. Whatever. I didn't know you could get your driver's license with one hand.
I guess. Yo, you want to know something funny? Well,
yes.
A few years ago, well, you can get your license with one hand. I've done it. I'm proof.
He's done it.
But I went to, so I love Six Flags, right? And I went to, you guys know X2 from Six Flags?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually couldn't ride that ride, even though I've ridden it. I've been there 16 times. I love Six Flags. But on this particular day, this dude was like, oh, bro, you can't ride this ride. You only have one hand. And then he's all, that's in the guide shit or whatever. And then he actually showed me, and it said that you have to have like hands and shit. I was like, oh shit. I was like, but I've ridden this before, but whatever. But I just thought that was interesting. They actually didn't let me ride X2 because of my hand.
That's really fucking weird. Because
but I've been on it like every year prior.
Because you meet the height requirement, so all the
you gotta have two hands. You gotta have hands.
That's wild. Shit. Now we know.
Yeah.
If you're born without I mean, you probably know, unless you don't like Six Flags. But that's weird. But you can get your driver's license, so that's a positive. Second question, Bryson, how good are you at video games? Are you okay at them? Do you like?
I'm definitely above average. I'm above average with games. I could, if I actually committed to a game that I really enjoy, could be a professional player, but I just don't have that commitment. I mean, I'm doing YouTube and podcast stuff, and then school stuff. It's like, it's not my main focus.
But explain. So I've actually seen Bryson play video games. He's being modest. He's actually very good at them. And it makes, again, it fills me with rage. It fills me with fury, and I'm not happy about it. But he's really good at them. But after watching him play over and over, I still don't understand it. Can you explain to me how it works?
Right. So it all started with a legendary game called Halo 2. That's where it really started.
First person shooter.
Because I always tell people like I was really, really good at Halo, and they don't really believe me unless they were there. But so I would learn how to play the game. So it's such a weird process. So if you play Halo, you know that you have to use L to like. Yeah. Dang, what are the freaking fundamentals of that game?
Trigger.
Yeah, trigger. So I would use my knee to like zoom in and shit, and then I got used to that. When I play games, I use my knee. I don't know if people notice that, but I use my knee to like navigate shit. It's weird as hell, but that game, because I remember in Halo, you had to it was called DualShock, where you had to like hold both L and R to shoot. And I was like, I can't do that. And then so I'd used my knee, and then I was like, oh, I can do it. And then it just went from there, and that was the process. That's how it began. Well, Halo 2 started it for me.
And when he plays Naruto fighting games. Yeah. And cool. I just watch, like, he's got the one hand and then he's got the nub, and then he's like, his nub's going everywhere at once. And I'm like, how are you fucking doing that? I don't understand. And then it's obnoxious.
I was also really good at Gears of War as well.
Did you ever struggle with that though? Like, what has everything you've ever done with your one hand just felt like you were learning it the way anyone else would learn something? Or have you ever actually struggled with something more than usual?
Not really. It all kind of came together, I guess. And just kind of, like with the Halo thing, I was like, it just kind of, I'll figure it out. If I want to do it, I'll do it. Right. I have to want to do it though. If I don't care to do it, I won't. Right. It just wasn't. But if I actually want to know how to do it, I'll do it. I'll figure it out and make it work.
So you've essentially never really struggled with your hand. It's never been like something.
Nothing major. Nothing like I said. Obviously, when I was younger with women, I used to think like, dang, I'm never gonna have this and that. Till I grew up, and then I actually started to understand women, and then grew into like my physical attributes and whatnot. All that stuff came with maturity and experience.
So it was more emotional than it ever was a physical handicap. And
definitely.
Even then you grew out of that emotional state of mind. All right. I'm glad you mentioned women. We're gonna come to the highlight of our video. The question everyone has on their head that they will never ask. And you should.
They don't have to ask. I mean, that's why we're making this video.
That's right. Bryson.
Javid.
Have you ever used your nub to penetrate a woman?
I have not.
You're fucking lying.
Well, he doesn't ever believe me.
Listen,
but I've had women ask, of course, And I always listen, I know people are like, yo, I'll be nubbing the shit out of every woman. Like, yo, because I'm like, I remember one of my friends, she asked me to do that to her. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do that to her? I was like, first of all, I said, I'm saving this for my wife. I really do say that. I'm like, yo, this is for my wife. And then I was like, do you really want me to do that too? And I was like, this is going to stretch your shit out like extremely far too. And then she was like, you know what? You're right. Never mind.
You talked somebody out of it?
I was like, because I'm like, yo, I'm saving this for my nub is a virgin.
I don't even recognize you.
It's the truth, Javin. I'm sorry.
I don't know who you
I'm sorry
are.
I failed all you guys in your minds. I'm not that exciting with this thing of
I
mine.
had this elaborate idea of how many. Okay, fine.
Bryson's nubbing everyone. I'm literally not nubbing them.
Okay. How many people have asked you? That's my question. How many?
3.
3?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
It's
ask
not
how
like
many
I
people
don't
you've
because
been with.
honestly, it's not like, and it's really not a common thing. Like I think, like for me, when I'm talking to someone like that and they get to know me, I mean, like I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. That's kind of weird to ask. Like, do you want to just nub me? How do you go about asking that question?
For anyone who will be with Bryson, if you've watched this video and you want to get to know Bryson and somehow you form
I am single, by the
way. He's single and he's got a nub. It's a win-win. If you form a relationship with him and there's real love there, ask him. Do not be afraid.
You can ask me anything.
Ask him directly and firmly. Make it happen for the rest of us because we need to know.
I think
We
once
need to
they
know
get to
what
know
happens.
me, they're more because I'm super easy to talk to, very easy to talk to, and I know that once they know me, like you can ask me anything. But it's the just getting to know stage. They're like, I don't think because no one's ever asked me that early on. If they've asked me, it's because we've known each other for some time. We've spent a decent amount of time around each other.
What did you say when they asked you, Bryson? No?
No, I always say, for one, I'm like, I asked them, do you really want me to do that to you? And then I also say that I'm saving it for my wife anyway. But it's just like, I mean, imagine me just legit putting my
I do imagine it, Bryson. That's the point. Everyone imagines it, Bryson. That's
Let's
the
just
point
get
of
real
this
here.
video. Yeah. Yeah. What are you talking about? Yes, Bryson. That's the idea. That is the point.
Honestly, I'm gonna do it now. Fuck it, waiting for my wife because I've never really spoken about it like this.
That's fair. No, you do you, but we're just deeply curious, and I don't
got the answers now.
People in the comments can say, "Oh, that's weird. Why would you think about that? You thought of it. You will."
It's really kinky. I mean, honestly,
It's
like
kinky.
it's I mean, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, it is. It's a talent. It's a God-given talent. Have you
I'm
seen
like,
American
I could
Horror
literally.
Story?
No, I haven't seen American Horror Story.
But go for it. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I don't even need to use my dick really because this, but yeah, I would still use my dick. Javin's loving this.
I am loving that. There's a character in American Horror Story, spoilers, who it's in the Circus Freaks season, and he's got these they call them lobster hands, and they're like thick.
You just reminded me of something.
Fingers, and he gets paid to finger women and to provide them sexual satisfaction. It was like in the 1950s.
What the hell?
Okay, that's weird, Bryson.
That is weird.
That's weird. When you could be making fucking bank.
We're all weird.
You could be making money.
Me and my friends, I could be a famous porn star with this shit, but I'm not doing it.
You decided to try to be a podcast that
Exactly.
I would be satisfied knowing that I'd go nowhere if you would go the full distance.
Yo, that's funny. Another thing that was funny to me was like, you guys ever seen Scary Movie 2?
Yeah.
You remember the dude with the hand? My germs, when he would stick his hand in the...
I don't remember.
Oh, you guys don't
It's
remember
been
that?
years since I've seen that.
Oh my gosh, that shit was so funny. He had like a fucked up hand, and he would like stick his hand in the cake, and he was like, "My germs."
I
here."
actually do remember.
I never
that.
done that, by the way, but that shit's funny.
Okay, so I guess I only have a few more questions. That really was a highlight. Like that's the question everyone fucking thinks of. I guess I'll just go
Everyone
more
knows
into. Yeah, no, I can't believe the answer is no.
True.
That is.
Well, I never said no though. Like it wasn't just no. That's never been said. But I do want to say, like, I've had people ask me, like, well, actually, I've only had one person ask me this in high school. He asked me like, how do I tie my shoes, which is a fair one.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I do. I know how to tie my shoes. I don't know how to explain that, but I just do it. Oh, okay. So I'm explaining it. It just came to me. So I sort of like, as I'm tying it, I sort of like wrap it around its little nub thing, and then I like put the string in, and then I don't know if that makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Well, it's something I do.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool, actually. Never
That's
really thought.
really cool.
I don't think of these things much because it's just second nature for me.
It's your life, yeah.
Yeah. And he asked me how do I put on my pants, which I thought was kind of weird because I'm like, I just put them on.
Yeah, I can put my pants on with one hand. Had to several times. But
See, there you go.
Yeah, he's got it.
Now, which is I am able to lift weights like bench press, and that's because I balance that. People don't know that unless you've like worked out with me, but I'm actually able to balance weight on my hand. That might be, and I can also like lift weights like this too. Like, it's so weird. I know how to use this hand down to perfection. I could balance shit on it like that. Like, it's weird as hell. I'll have to show you guys. I've never showed Javin that or Scarlett. I'm gonna have to show them one day.
Yeah, we need to do. We're gonna be on TikTok. That's content.
Yo, we're gonna
produce it. It's fucking content, bro.
Oh, we gotta do that. That's great. We gotta
exploit ourselves.
We gotta. I'm gonna be pimped out.
Ourselves. Yeah, I'm gonna pimp you out, Bryson. It's gonna work. And
wow.
Yeah, and we're gonna make so much content because that's really
that
cool.
is good content. We got to do that.
I didn't know you balanced it on your head. I was going to say that sounds really unsafe, but at the same time, who would I trust more? Somebody starting out doing that, balancing it on their wrist or something, or somebody who for 26 years has been doing that?
I know how to
I
do
feel
that.
like, yeah, I feel like that's fair. I feel like in a public setting, we'd still need to like spot you or something, but I suppose that's normal, right?
No. Actually, you don't. Well, I mean, it's safe. Obviously, have a spotter. Oh, like when I've been to the gym with like, when I go to the gym with like close family members or whatever, and we're lifting weights and doing shit, like I have gym heads come up and they're like, "Wow, man, that's dope as hell. That's awesome. This and that." And then they're just all kind of there, like, because to us it's so normal. So I'm like, why is he saying this?
Right, yeah.
But then then it clicks. I'm like, Bryson, you have one hand. They're not used to seeing you do this or do that. And so, yeah. I mean, there are some exercises, obviously, that I cannot do, but the ones that I can do, it's still crazy to see.
You can still, like, push up. You can still do push-ups.
Yeah, I could do stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this device or this weird sideboard looking thing where this dude, because I've seen people with like similar conditions, but they put this thing on to where they're able to do all exercises. I've been meaning to invest in that. It's just really expensive. Mm-hmm. But when I do, you guys are going to see. That's going to be dope as hell. Yeah.
This is kind of a very specific question that I don't know that you have the answer to, but how do the muscles develop in your forearm?
It actually cut off. I don't know what this is called, Javin. That I don't know. We're not doctors or therapists. Or anything. I'm not a physical therapist. My dad is. He would know this type of stuff.
That's cool.
But my hand cut off at the wrist.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
I suppose
the names of any of these tendons at all. But
So your forearm muscles essentially develop normally around the wrist area.
I have a wrist. I can turn it a little bit. I can turn it.
Huh.
Yeah. It's limited though. And I think the reason why is because when I was a little kid, my dad told me to like keep my arm straight no matter what. And I think that like effed me up. I didn't think he knew what he was talking about then, but I often think about that because I feel like I would have had the full extent of my wrist if I didn't do that.
What's funny to me is that you just said your dad was a physical therapist. He's like, he knows his shit. And then you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was fucking
I know, right? But that was like years ago, though. He wasn't a physical therapist then.
That's fair.
He was in school to be one. So, yeah, I was an experiment in that aspect.
If you're in school for anything, don't be doling out advice. You don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah.
So...
Oh,
we got somebody who's trying to talk to us. Oh.
Excuse us.
Oh, we're good? Okay. Okay, I guess that...
Does that wrap it up?
That essentially wraps it up. What do you have to say to people who experience kind of the same things as you? What's your advice, or what's something you feel like not a lot of people get contact with?
So cliche. If you're dang, do you?
Do you be yourself?
I don't like being cliche, but it's so true and so honest. I mean, like, if you have some sort of disability or whatever, like me, like, just own it and just try to be the best that you can possibly be. I mean, that's what I do. Right. I mean, like I said, when I was in the 8th grade, I accepted the fact that I have one hand, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change. So after accepting it, it just helped me be a better version of me, especially like mentally. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people will have more. Ask questions. Any questions.
Yo, ask
questions.
any question in the comments.
Yeah.
And yeah. Ask me anything.
Anything. And we'll be sure to answer them. He'll be sure to answer them. And we're going to be producing content to show just all the miraculous things that he does that you wouldn't expect. We need to record you playing like games, working out, stuff like that.
That is a great... Well, I already know that's a great idea. I think that the theme of our TikTok videos should be me going about doing things with my one hand.
I agree.
That's so good. Wow, yeah.
We make.
We got to do that. We got to do that.
Fucking do that. Yeah. So look forward to it. I hope that answered some of your questions. See you next time.